Welcome back to our series, The Pattern You Keep Repeating. Today, we're diving into something I think we've all felt, why you keep feeling the same way no matter what changes. You know that feeling, right? It's the sense that you're not just reacting to life as it happens, but you're stuck in some kind of emotional Groundhog Day. So, let's get into what's really going on here. Okay, so picture this. Something really small happens, like a minor delay. Maybe you're running just a few minutes behind schedule. Or you get one of those unexpected emails. It just pops into your inbox and the subject line is kind of weird. You're not sure what to make of it. Or maybe it's just a simple conversation, one that for whatever reason takes a little bit of a strange turn. All of these are totally normal, everyday things. But here's the real question. Why on earth do they all feel the same? Even though the situations are completely different, that emotional hit, that familiar knot in your stomach, that rush of frustration, it's identical. What is that about? Well, that familiar feeling? It's not random at all. What you're experiencing is actually a super predictable learned reaction that's been running in the background of your life for a long, long time. And this whole process usually plays out in the exact same way. It starts with some tiny little trigger. Then, boom, that familiar emotion shows up. Maybe it's anxiety for you, or frustration, or that feeling of just wanting to avoid everything. Then, an automatic reaction follows almost immediately. And later, when things have come down, you have that moment of clarity where you think to yourself, why did I do that again? This brings us to a really crucial question. Are you actually reacting to the thing that's happening right in front of you? Or is your brain just hitting play on a well-worn emotional track that it has played 1,000 times before? This is what we call the emotional loop. Think of it like the hidden engine that's driving all of these familiar feelings. Let's pull back the curtain and see how this powerful cycle actually works. It's a simple 4-step process. First, you've got the trigger, that delay, that email. Second, a familiar emotion starts to rise up. Third, an automatic reaction kicks in before you even have time to think. And here's the most important part, step 4, reinforcement. Your reaction actually strengthens the original emotion, making that loop even tighter for the next time around. Okay, let's make this super clear with a classic example, the good old anxiety avoidance cycle. So the trigger is you have to do something difficult. The emotion, instant anxiety. Your automatic reaction, you put it off, you avoid it. And the reinforcement, you get this wave of temporary relief. Crisis averted. This teaches your brain a very powerful but very unhelpful lesson. And that's the key takeaway right there. Your mind isn't trying to mess with you. It's just a really good student. It learns that when this emotion comes up, doing this action makes the bad feeling go away. And because it works in the short term, your brain says, great, let's lock that in and do it again next time. So if these patterns don't really help us in the long run, why are they so incredibly hard to break? Why do they stick around for years, sometimes even our whole lives? Well, the reason is simple. In the moment, they feel completely justified. This is probably the biggest hurdle. When you're inside one of these emotional loops, it doesn't feel like a programmed pattern. It feels like a totally real, totally logical, and accurate response to what's happening. Just look at these two different ways of interpreting the exact same feeling. On one hand, the pattern's logic says, I feel anxious, so this situation must be dangerous. It treats your feeling like a fact. But the reality of the pattern is more like, I feel anxious, which means my brain is just activating a learned anxiety program. Can you see the difference? One way makes you a prisoner, and the other lets you become an observer. And here's how the loop locks itself shut. Your reaction actually proves the original emotion was right. If you feel anxious and then you avoid something, you've just told your brain, see, I was right to be scared. That was something to be avoided. You close the loop and make it even stronger. Okay, so how in the world do we break out of this? The good news is, it doesn't take some huge dramatic effort. The entire journey starts with one simple, though I'll admit not always easy, action. You just pause. And not after you've already reacted. The magic is in pausing right in that tiny little space between feeling the emotion and launching into your automatic reaction.
And in that moment of pause, you ask yourself a very simple question. Not, why do I feel this way? That question just gets you stuck in the story. Instead, you just ask, what am I feeling right now? That simple question creates a little crack in the armor of that automatic pattern.
And to do that, you just turn your attention inward. Notice the feeling as a physical sensation. Where is it in your body? Is it a tightness in your chest, a hot feeling in your face? What does it actually feel like, physically? This tiny shift is what moves you from being the emotion to simply observing it. And from that place of just observing, that's where you get your power back. It's where you can start to create a new response, one that isn't just dictated by that old, tired pattern. Let's really look at the difference here. A pattern-driven reaction is when that emotion just automatically takes the wheel. You're just along for the ride. But an intentional response, that's when you notice the emotion coming up, and then, and this is everything, you get to choose your behavior. The power is back in your hands. This is the mindset shift that changes the whole game. The anxiety itself isn't the problem. The frustration isn't the real issue. The problem is the automatic, unthinking reaction you have to those feelings. So look, the goal here isn't to become some kind of robot who never feels anything. That's not even possible. The real goal is to change your relationship with your emotions so that they can give you information, but they no longer get to be the boss of you. Because here's the truth. That pattern, your specific familiar loop, it is absolutely going to show up again. It's programmed in there. But now you know how it works. You have the tools to see it coming. So the only real question left is this. The next time it shows up, what will you choose to do differently?